Hey guys, this is the Coates 1600 3D balancer. I just wanted to do a review. We've had it for a little over a month now. I've used it for many sets of tires, and we had that Coates computer balancer back there. It's an older one from 2005. It started having some issues and it was like unreliable. You didn't know if it actually balanced the tires or not. And we sort of got stuck on just doing a static balance. That's all it could really do. So we upgraded to this one. Now, we were on the fence about getting the Hunter balancer with their Road Force technology, and we sort of weighed the options. The Hunter balancer with all the accessories to do truck stuff and all that other stuff was gonna be about $28,000 Canadian. That was the price tag. That included everything, the hammerhead, laser attachment, all, like, everything. Or you can get this one from Coates, which comes with the truck attachment adapters and the finger plates. It comes with the power feed pedals for the power assist shaft, and this balancer costs $15,000, so significantly less. Now, this thing has been problematic since day one, and I was talking to the technician that came out here and set this up initially, and I asked her when she was setting it up, you know, is there any common issues with this thing? And she said, not really. They've been good balancers. She hasn't set up a whole lot of them, maybe like 3. But she says that she hasn't seen any issues. But right off the bat, it had like a handful of problems. So one of the issues was you would close the hood, spin up the wheel, and it would go into a loading sign, and it would just sit there forever. And it would never actually spit out any weight measurements of what you needed to hammer onto the wheel. It would just get stuck. So you'd have to lower the hood again and spin it up a second time, and then it would show you. So it just burned time. It was annoying. And there was another issue with selecting the weights. There's an animation that it'll show you. I'm actually just going to walk you through the process here from start to finish, and I'll point out some of the things that have been fixed and haven't been fixed, and stuff like that. So before I get started, in the settings on this machine, if we go back, I'm trying to, up here, it does have internet capability. So we are currently hooked up to the internet, but the funny thing is, even though it has Wi-Fi capability, there is no purpose for it currently at this time for the Wi-Fi function. They do not do over-the-air software updates yet, but apparently sometime in the future they're going to. So I thought that was kind of funny. If it needs an update, somebody actually has to physically come here and do the update via the computer that's in the back here. And there's like a USB here. I would imagine they just put a USB stick in there and flash it, but I really don't know. So we go back to our main menu here. And it's just like most balancers. You got these spacer cones, right? And you can center them on the wheel, either from the outside or the inside. And I've got it centered on the inside. So the first thing that I don't like about this balancer, and I've used both the Hunter Road Force, their newest best one. I used that one for like 2 years, and about a year actually. But I was familiar with that, and then now I've used this. But the first thing I don't like is trying to put this spindle on. Sometimes, I would say like 8 times out of 10, you try to put it on and the threads just don't catch. So you can't really like spin it like this to like get it to start. You have to push in the center to get it to start. And it's kind of annoying, but whatever, minor inconvenience. Next thing, you can use the power feed function for the shaft, where you can just hold the pedal and it will install it for you. It's sort of buggy in the fact that when you go to remove it, sometimes you will press the pedal and nothing will happen. It needs to be a certain looseness for it to actually start to work. So you'll break the initial chuck, and then you hit the pedal, and all of a sudden it just won't do anything. So you're like, okay, sitting there for 2 seconds, then you got to hit it again. And then by then it's like, well, I could have just taken it off manually. That's what I really like about the Hunter Quick Chuck, They just have like a lever that you can pull and just like slide it over the threads and give it a snug, and it's way faster than the power feed. But yeah, that's the main thing, is you hit the pedal and it will just like all of a sudden it doesn't work. You have to hit the pedal twice. So we'll get that tightened on there. This thing has a tendency to loosen the chuck off if you don't really tighten it down. If you just like put it on there kind of snug and then go to spin your wheel up, it will loosen off. And then you gotta open the hood and then cram it down. So have to make sure that it's tight. I give the wheel a spin just to make sure that it's centered and everything looks good. I see this rim has a bit of a bend in it. So we're gonna try to balance it and see what it looks like. These tires are kind of crap. They're older snow tires, and I think they're like 8 years old, but whatever. We're gonna see what they're like. Initially, when we first got the balancer, it had this problem where you would go through the paces doing your balance and put the weights on, and it would say it was good. But then you could take the tire off and put it back on and close the hood, spin it up again, and it would ask for more weight. So it's like trust issues right off the bat. Is it really balanced or is it not? And it's pretty stupid. So we talked to our district rep about it, and that technician that set it up initially came back out, and she had talked to some of the technical people at Coates, and they said, okay, yeah, this is kind of a common issue. Replace the computer that's mounted on the back. So if they did that, it's fixed some of the issues, but there are still a lot of bugs in the system that are still there. So like yesterday, we mounted a set of 35-inch tires, some nice Toyos, onto a Dodge Ram. And the second tire I did, it immediately spun up and said 0. And I was like, oh wow, don't have to add any weight. Close the hood, spin it up again just to make sure. Sure enough, it wanted 4 ounces. So just as quick as that, you get caught with your pants down because the machine says it's green, and you just trust it. And the customer comes back because now there's a shake in the steering wheel because it's out 4 ounces on the front tire. Like, absolutely ridiculous. So the machine's been calibrated twice, I believe now. So it shouldn't be an issue, but for some reason it's an issue. Another thing that it was doing was, and it still does, apparently it was supposed to get fixed with the computer being replaced, but it still does this problem. When we go to spin it up, I'll show you, but you have these red lines here that indicate where the tire is. So you can see that's supposed to be center. And what would happen is, when you lift up the hood, it would automatically take it to the right position so that it keeps the tire stationary. And it would move the tire and go, okay, it should be there, and you're hammering weight on the outside. Well, the line, instead of being in the center where it's supposed to be, is where it is now, like way out to lunch. So it's like, well, is it supposed to be where the machine stopped it, or is it supposed to be where the lines match up? And it's confusing. I don't understand why it doesn't line up, but sometimes it does that, sometimes it doesn't. And I make sure that I take my time, and I've been trained on it. I'm not new to balancing tires. I've been balancing tires for like 15 years plus. So anyhow, what we want to do now, we can choose between which type of balance we want. That's the first thing. So we've got static, dynamic, and then we've also got dynamic and static and pro. Now, you can toggle between car and truck. So you only get the pro option under car. They don't give you pro option under truck. So let's go to pro. The only difference with pro is it adds one thing, and it's kind of ridiculous. It allows you, or it will prompt you, if it's applicable, to add a sticky weight to the center of the rim, only if it knows that you can do that, and it'll better the balance. And the funny thing is, they don't incorporate the pro balance into your regular procedure. What happens is you'll hammer your weights on the inside, hammer your weights on the outside, spin it up, and then it'll say 00 Pro Balance push, and you push the button, and then it spins around and says, add a 1/4 ounce or 1/2 ounce to the center. Personally, myself, I think they should just incorporate that into the screen. Why you have to push a button and continue to Pro Balance? Obviously, we've selected Pro Balance. Why not just incorporate that? Why would you make me push a button? Whatever. Doesn't matter. So we're on Pro Balance car. Now we're going to select which we would like. I'm going to be doing hammer-on weights inside and outside. These are kind of crappy aluminum rims. I don't really care too much for them. So we can select that, and we'll continue. And you can see that our animation has changed here. We've got a picture of 2 hammer-on weights. Then it's going to get us to map out the rim so it knows where it is. But let's just say that you're going to do hammer-on weights and sticky weights. We can do tape weight there, and we continue. Actually, sorry, let's go back for a second. So I chose sticky and sticky, but you can see, well, it still says hammer-on weight and sticky. Why doesn't it change? It doesn't change until you close the hood and spin it up, then it changes. So if you don't know that, it really throws you off because you're going, well, I don't want hammer-on weights, and then you go back and you try it again and it still doesn't change. Oh, now it changes. And it just throws you off. So little bugs like that are just a software fix. Why isn't it fixed before you buy a $15,000 tire balancer? Don't know, pretty stupid, but that's the way it is. So anyhow, let's continue on. Clip weight, that's good. We're gonna need to take our measurement now. So we just swing this arm out here. It tells us what we need to do. So now we can go back like that. Now normally, if you do sticky weights, it's gonna get you to rotate this knob that has a laser, and then it'll get you to map the inside of the rim for where the sticky weight's gonna go in there. And then you would continue. But anyhow, let's close this hood. This thing's gonna spin up. Pretty nasty. I expect it to want quite a bit of weight, which it does. Okay, so let's hammer on some weight here. Just gonna get my hammer. So we want 3 1/4 and 1 1/2. So let's go 2 and 1 1/4 to make our 3 1/4. And these aren't the right weights. I need AWs, but I don't have them. So we'll just hammer these MCs on for now, just for demonstration purposes. You can hit the pedal to go next, which will then bring you out to here, or you can just hit this. And here's the other issue that sometimes happens and sometimes doesn't. It depends on which weights you're chosen. But say you initially hammer these on and you go to the next phase to hammer on the outside and you hit next, the illustration will not change to the outside. It'll still show the same thing. So then you're kind of confused if you're not paying attention. You don't see the tire change. You're like, oh, well, am I still on this or am I on the outside now? But you see it on there. So obviously like green, we're lined up green, 12 o'clock, want to hammer on weights. Okay, that's fine. The animation did change this time, but a lot of times it doesn't. So another software bug. So let's go 1 1/2. Hammer on here. Okay, we should be good now. Now this thing has a sonar sensor that's built into the hood. And that's how it gets some rim diameter dimensions, so you don't have to manually enter it all in like the older balancers. So you just use this arm, it gives it a depth, and then obviously it's going to use sonar. The sales rep that initially came here to throw a sales pitch at us to buy this thing told us that it had lasers and that it would give us run out dimensions just like Hunter, which it does not. So that was partially my fault for not investigating and really looking into these balancers more. But that's one thing I really miss compared to the Hunter balancer, is that it would give you a run out number on how bad the tire is compared to the rest of the set of tires. Even though they're all balanced, There's some that are better balanced than the others, and you'd want to put the best balanced ones on the front so that you don't get any shimmy in the steering when you're driving at the worst speed that'll make them shake the most. And that's one thing that you just don't get with this. So you balance all your wheels and put them on the vehicle and hope that they're in the best spots that they can be. And sometimes that's not the case. It'll say that it's balanced, but you'll have one that's like, sure, it's balanced, but it's still shit. And it goes on the front of the truck. And then the guy comes back the next day and goes like, yeah, I shake at 90 kilometers an hour. And it's like, all right. And then you got to put it on the hoist and swap it back forth, do it for free. And it just eats time. It just eats time. So you really got to watch. This balancer will burn you. So we can, we'll spin it up again just to see. I'm going to take the tire off and put it back on. We'll see here. See, tire should be balanced, but it's not. Or maybe it is, I don't know. That's the worst part about this. I get the tire's kind of shit, but how do you say that it's 0 and 0, and then you take the tire off and put it back on, and then it wants more weight? Now, the reason they said is because I'm using these cones and I need to be using the fingers, that I should use the fingers all the time. Well, that's a fucking pain in the ass, pardon my French, but it's like, well, what do you mean? I never had that issue with Hunter Balancer, ever. So, I don't know, is it worth the $15,000? I highly regret purchasing this balancer compared to the Hunter Balancer. The Hunter Balancer smokes this thing every day. But maybe they'll bring out software updates and fix some of the bugs. I don't know. I really wanted to talk to some of the technical staff who maybe does the software and stuff like that, but it seemed to be handed to the district rep, the technician that comes to fix it, and whether or not questions get answered and things get fixed, I don't know. So there's other capabilities this thing has too, like weight placement. If you're doing sticky weights, you can put them behind the spokes, stuff like that. Everything this thing can do, the Hunter Balancer can do, plus way more. It does not, like I say, the Hunter Balancer has road force. That's their like big thing. Puts 1,200 pounds of downforce onto the tire and actually reads run out. That gives you the run out number, so you know how bad it's out even though it's balanced. But also, you have a matchmaking option, which I really miss, and it's saved me so many times, where it will actually measure the run out of the rim and the run out of the tire separately, and you can mark the rim and the tire, break it down and match it, and it'll give you the best balance, which is fantastic. So one thing, I guess Coates actually used to do that, but I was told that they don't do that anymore because people never used it. That's what I was told, that people stopped using it. They got rid of that function, which is complete BS in my opinion. But anyhow, that pretty much wraps it up. I just thought I'd give you a little insight on the Coates 1600. And in my opinion, it's a pile. So let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. So one more thing that I remembered was when you're doing sticky weights, more so sticky weights anyways, and it brings it around to the stop location that you need to put the weight at. From the time that it stops, it gives you about 71 seconds to place the weight on the rim and then spin it to the next spot. Otherwise, what'll happen is, you can see the machine has locked the position, so it keeps it there for you so that you can place the weight and you know where it goes. You can see the lasers in there, all is good. But if you have to clean off old tape or whatever and prep the surface, if you wait long enough, what'll happen it'll just all of a sudden lose its lock. And see if it'll do it here. Give it a second. And then all of a sudden it'll just free spin. And it happens every time. And then you'll want to like go to the next location, and when you hit the pedal, it'll just free spin. There. It just lost its position. And there's no way to put it back. It's not a big deal. You just have to line up those things, right? To make sure it's on the right spot. But then it's like rolling like this. It's just such a pain, and you like go to hit the pedal to go to the next position. It either doesn't work or it just spins it. So yeah, you get 71 seconds by the time you start. When it brings the tire to a stop and you start the process, you have to be quick. Otherwise, then you got to hold the tire and do our old-fashioned way. So.